Hi Anania. Alright, so here's your past life spread, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at where we are, what you did with the majority of your time, an important day, another important day, the death, and the lesson learned. And we'll get hints of time throughout. So here where we're going is Asia, okay? And I'm going to relay to you the images and impressions I'm getting, and your job is to make connections where you can from what we're looking at to your current life, okay? And I'll try to help. So, we're going to Asia, and what I can tell you is that it feels like we're looking at open marketplaces. It feels like, I don't know if it's like a Chinese market, but it feels like we're going to, it's where there's open, see, I don't know if it's China, like but it feels like it's the kind, like you've heard of those markets that they have, like the street vendors and things like that happening, where it's also like, yeah, cooked food, but also like, just like where you can go and get flowers and things like that. So it's like, it's really, I don't know, it's like I don't see a lot of greenery where you are, so it's really hard. It's the country, the name of it's like hard to get. So just know that we're in a place where there's a lot, like a big market, and the market is like the central hub, and I feel like the market is also a place where performances are put on as well. So it's almost like there's a street fair almost every day is what it feels like in this place. It's also a place where people go to celebrate when there's holidays, and there's a lot of decorations, and you know, like how that, I think it's Japan, I'm not sure which country, but where they let go of all of the those lit up balloons, like they send those lights into the sky once a year, or like on the New Year's. But I feel like this place sees a lot of action, and so in your current life, how you can connect with that even is, one, if you've had any interest in like Asian culture, Asian food, Asian music, or the maybe not the history, but like the art or decor or culture, I guess is what it is. If you've had any interest in that, like and it wouldn't be like Russia Asia, it'd be like Chinese Asia, Japanese Asia, like that, those kinds of Asian countries. And so we're going to go with what you did with the majority of your time here. You spent a lot of time with, this is the food card. So the food card can mean a lot. It can mean someone who just puts food as their priority. It can mean a chef. It can even mean like, you know, a mother who cooks food for her kids every day kind of thing. So what we're looking at here, what it feels like is we're actually looking at like a market vendor, someone who is like chopping up meat and they're serving people, and I feel like it's a very small business, but it gets a lot of business because it's also in like a predominant area of this market is what it feels like. It feels like you're a market vendor. So I'm trying to, and this is not, even though we see this like in modern times, this isn't exactly very modern. I feel like there's a very traditional aspect to this as well, but I can't tell if it's traditional in the sense that it's just a place where there's been so many like holidays and festivities and all kinds of people that have come here from all different generations, traditional, or if it's like traditional in the sense that it's like truly old, like from traditional times. Because I'm not sure when they had the marketplaces, but I feel like this market, it stems off of an old one. So where there was a market in ancient times, this one is either in the same place or where it used to be, but there was a distinct time when the old marketplace became a new marketplace. And I don't know if it's because there was like a change in like the regime or authority, or if it was just a changeover in generations. Like the new generations came in with like new ideas, and they kind of like made it their own. So how this can speak to you, actually, if you're someone who is innovative, if you're someone who has new ideas, if you're someone that takes things that are as they are and then you change them into something new. Maybe you're an artist in that way, or maybe you could actually be interested in the food industry, but in a way where you are making it your own. Like maybe you cook, and even at home you cook, but you do something to like add a little something that's just for you, whether it's like, you know, maybe you're the one that likes the ketchup on the eggs or the hot sauce on the eggs kind of thing and no one else does, that kind of thing. It can be as little as that. So keep that in mind as well. If you have any kind of culinary aspirations as well, that would stem from here. At the same time, your soul, because it wants to experience so much, if it did food here and you came back in this life and you find that you don't know how to cook at all, like you don't know how to find your way in the kitchen at all, that would make sense too, because you already did that. So your soul would be experiencing a life where you don't know how to work with food, you see? So it can be either way. So keep that in mind. Now the first important day, we're looking at the death card. So it says there is death in this place. That means we're looking at something happening. There's either you're witnessing it or it's happening and you're hearing about it. So there's a child. The child card is involved, and the happy. We're looking at a happy card. So I'm trying to see what's happening on this day. I feel like this marketplace that you work at is also like in a place where it's like there's so much action, and I also feel like it's a main point where people would like target as well. Like this would be a place to target if you were, if another nation, let's say another nation was at war with your nation, this would be like a hub where they know that a lot of the population is going to be here specifically during certain times of the day. Because I feel like I feel like you're part of a small city, but it's a very like reputable city, and it's a very like it's thriving, and I feel like everybody in this city will have come to this market at least like once a day, once every other day, whatever it is, because I feel like everything is here. It's not just the food, but food, obviously, everyone needs to eat and, you know, grocery shop or whatever, and this is where it all takes place. And it's kind of like an outdoor-indoor market, like an outdoorish kind of place, but there's like, you know, like kiosks or whatever you call it, where there's a roof or, you know, ceiling of some sort to protect from rain, like people can get in from under rain, but it's still like open air market. So keep that in mind. And honestly, you might actually like going to like flea markets or, you know, like those open kind of malls, or the open, like that might be your preference, even if you've never thought about it till now. If that's your preference, it would come from it being so familiar here. Okay, so I'm trying to see what's going on here. So I say that because I feel like what it feels like is like there's and the market's huge, and I feel like a portion of the market, something happened where there's smoke now. So I know there's smoke, I just don't know what kind of, if there was an attack or if it was just like a prank or something. But I feel like it honestly feels like an explosive kind of thing that happens, or a fire is started. And I feel like there are deaths from that, but it's put out soon. But had it spread, it would have found its way to you. And I feel like this has to do, like there's a safety feeling involved. So you might be someone who finds that you like security. You might like even security systems, or something about feeling secure wherever you are. You might actually be someone who might be a little paranoid as far as safety goes. And if you are, it would come from here. On the flip side, you might be someone in this life who's kind of a rebel, doesn't care, whatever, because you became very concerned about safety when this happened here. Because I feel like what happened is either your kid, like, I don't know if it's your kid. I'm trying to think. One second. I just feel like there was a child involved and you knew him, because I feel like you knew everyone. And the child ended up not getting killed or not being hurt where he should have been. It was the kind of thing where you thought you thought this person was dead, and it was more like the child of like a very good friend of yours, that kind of thing. So there was like this overriding feeling of relief, even though there was still that attack that happened or whatever. So it's really weird because even though all this chaos is happening, there's still this overriding sense of relief, because I feel like the people you knew did not get hurt or killed when they should have. And I feel like there are people that did die, but it was almost like they weren't in your radar. So you might be very protective of your friends. You might be very selective of your friends. You might be the person that's like just making sure that everything is taken care of. Let's say you're going to hang out for a day and you're the one that's making sure that like parking's taken care of and the tickets are taken care of and this and that, like very just like just taking care of stuff basically. And if not, it would be because you're coming back and you're just like, I don't care, I just want to experience whatever I'm experiencing just because. Like, it can be either way. But here we're looking at someone that's like super relieved, but also finding that they feel like maybe they get a little paranoid, or they start, you know, wondering if something's gonna happen. It basically kind of shook them up is what we're looking at. We're looking at someone who's a little shook up here. And let's see. What it also does, actually, this is an important day, because it's not just that you're shook up and you start thinking about like security and stuff. You actually start thinking about your own place in life, because I feel like we're looking at a guy who is very like solo, and you know, he runs his own business and he takes care of his own stuff, and I feel like we're looking at someone here who doesn't have a family to be concerned about in the way that he sees that his friends were concerned for their family, if that makes sense. So it's putting into his mind, it was a traumatizing enough event that it put into his mind his own mortality. And so we're seeing a guy now thinking, oh, I want to have a family. That's what it feels like. So in your current life, you could be someone who doesn't care to have a family, and that would stem because that would make sense. You can also be desiring a family, if that makes sense. So this could mean a couple of things. It could just mean that I don't know if you want a family, it would be because, again, this, like, something would shock you, this shocked this person into wanting it. So it doesn't even have to be a family. What it is basically, if you find that you're someone that makes decisions based off things that happen around you and then make you think. So you might be totally fine one day, and then you go somewhere and you read afterwards that in that time there was the place next door got robbed. That would make you, if you're this kind of person, it would all of a sudden, you'd be like, oh my gosh, it could have been me. I could have been next door. What if it was me getting robbed? I could have been killed. I need to go after my dreams now because I could be dead. You know, like that kind of thing. You could be that kind of person where events that happen kind of get you motivated or inspired to take action. And if that's who you are, it would stem from here, because that's what we're seeing here basically, is a traumatic event happen that inspired you to take action. Okay, so the next important day here, we're seeing the marriage card. And we're seeing family. There we go. And then we're seeing a disappointment card. Here, let's turn that around. There we go. Disappointment. Okay. So we're seeing this is a couple of years later. I feel like this is years later. You did take action. And I feel like we're seeing, I'm trying to see if this is your marriage or if we're looking at you witnessing a marriage. I'm seeing what's going on here. Yeah, I feel like this is your marriage, but I feel like there's something about it that is not exactly what you thought it would be. I actually feel like you jumped the gun, and I feel like you married someone that you ended up having a child with prior to the marriage. Like, I feel like, if anything, and it wasn't bad or anything, but I feel like you like really wanted children more than you wanted a partner, if that makes sense. And because of it, you didn't wait for the right partner. You wanted something and you didn't wait for the right moment, you just went for it. And usually that's a good thing. You take risks and you get rewards, right? But in this case, it was like you did not follow your gut instinct. You followed your fear. So there's, you know, you made a decision based out of fear versus out of love, really. So we see someone, you coming and forming a family, and this feeling of disappointment comes in. It's not because they're not a terrible family, they're a lovely family, everyone gets along, but you are aware that by the time you've made your family, you don't have passion for your partner. So we're looking at kind of a loveless marriage, even though your partner might not know it. She might feel like she's loved and everything's fine, but you know deep down that you feel like there's a bit of a mistake made. You feel like you made the wrong choice because you moved too quickly and you weren't patient and you didn't allow yourself to find the right person and let the relationship evolve. And then, you know how it's really supposed to be when you find someone you love, like you just let it happen at its own pace. Here I feel like you really just took charge and you just made this family happen. And we're looking at a man kind of finishing out his life not feeling 100% fulfilled, because the love from a partner, that companionship, there's companionship, but there's no love, there's no passion, there's no like being in love. And in your current life, the best relationship that you could have would be one where you get to experience love and passion and all these lovely things that come with having a partner that you're in love with, versus having a partner that you settle for, or a partner that you might even like or you're fond of, but the love or passion is not there. So I feel like this is being brought up basically as a message for you to be cautious, not to settle again, not to settle, do not settle. And also a message for you not to just jump the gun. Like, it's always good to take a risk, but if the right choices that you make, like the choices, like if you have choices to make, you'll always have enough time to make the right choice. If something's coming down to a deadline and you feel rushed and pressured, then it's not the right choice. Usually, if you want to go with the flow of things, and that's what a lot of people, that's what it's all about, is going with the flow of the universe, going with your path. And the way to do that is understanding that the right thing will occur at the right time, and you're not going to feel pressured and you're not going to feel rushed. And I feel like this is coming up again just to show you, like, to have patience. And if you struggle with being impatient or having patience, then this is a good thing for you to see and acknowledge, because that's something you want to work on. Because if you can work on gaining more patience, then it'll allow you to kind of sit back a little bit and relax and not jump the gun when you feel like you need something in your life and I need to get it now. It's like, no, if you need something in your life, it's gonna come into your life, There's a difference between needing and wanting, and you gotta know the difference between that. But anyway, so we're looking at a rather kind of ho-hum platonic kind of thing going on here, and I feel like, again, that's important that you don't repeat that in this current life. So the death card is water, and I'm trying to see what's going on, because it could be so many things. I'm just trying to see, because I don't know, like, so it's like I'm seeing rain. Okay, so it was like this rainy day, very cold. It feels like a wintry rainy day, and I feel like you actually came down with a cold that turned into something much, much deeper, maybe like a flu or a virus, and it didn't go away, because I feel like we're looking at a time period too where the medicine for that just wasn't up to par, and nor was the access to medicine easy, I feel like, and for some reason here. I don't know, but I feel like, your family was there, and you just spent days and days and days in bed, and I feel like no one's manning the shop and things are going down, and I feel like, so your partner has to, like, there's something about your partner trying to figure out how the shop is run, and then you have to actually like call in a friend to kind of take over, and you kind of see death coming. There's something like there's always that hope, you're like, I'm gonna get better, but I feel like it's been weeks, and you feel yourself getting even more tired and like fragile, or lack of strength, so you call in a friend from the, I feel like it's almost like you either sell the shop or you hand over management to somebody, and then you're gonna have to let your partner figure out the rest, kind of thing. And so you pass, I feel it takes weeks for you to pass. And so in your current life, if you're dehydrated, if you are tired a lot, if you feel weak sometimes and you don't know why, you get like bouts of weakness. Also like any breathing issues, coughing issues, mucus or liquid in the lungs, lung issues, if you come down with colds every winter, or bronchitis or pneumonia kind of thing, if your immune system is low, it would stem from here. So keep that in mind. And it's really great. This lesson is the Simplicity card, which we had before, so that's just another link, which is lovely. And so the Simplicity lesson, I feel like, is coming in because it's really interesting. The thing, so how do I say this? It's like the simple things in life are like having a family and providing, basically, right? So here we're looking at a simple life where you are providing not just for yourself but for your family now, and then having a family. And it's so funny because you think like, okay, I have everything I wanted, and yet I'm not happy. So it's really interesting because there were certain things that could have happened if you kind of let fate step in, or kind of gone with the flow more, which in itself is simple to do, going with the flow, but people make it so hard on themselves. They feel like they have to struggle or punish themselves in order to get success, and that's not the case. It's really as simple as going with the flow. And I feel like we see you take care of simple, we see a life here where it's very simple. There's simple things in your life, and you are mostly happy. You know, you own your business, you do what you're good at, you love what you do. And then we see where you struggle here, and it's when you take something simple like falling in love and making a family and that kind of thing. When you make something like that, something simple like that, you make it happen rather than flowing into it, and we see unhappiness there. So I feel like the main message coming up is basically, again, that thing about patience and about going with the flow. And it doesn't mean, going with the flow does not mean not taking charge of your life or doing what other people say. That's not what this means. It basically means reading the signs the right way. Going with the flow means tuning into yourself and feeling how you feel, your emotions, how you feel about certain things happening. So let's say that there's a relationship, and relationships, they shouldn't be all fighting, and it shouldn't be butting heads, and what a relationship should be is getting along, and there should be peace there. There should be a certain kind of easiness, like a natural easiness to a relationship. So I feel like that's like an example, like you can either make a relationship really complex and hard and butt heads, or you can go with the flow and like flow into a relationship where it's going to be easy and natural and lovely. And it's just as simple as like letting the love in the relationship happen. It's as simple as starting a business and just doing what you love. Like, you love to cook, you love to do this. So this man got to do what he loved every day because he followed the thing that excited him. He followed the thing that he was good at, that he was passionate about. He didn't force it. He just knew. This person just knew, I love to cook this food. I'm going to cook this food and sell it, and that's gonna be my job. La-di-da, like, it's like that simple. But then we see the relationship, and he's like, it's not like he knew. He's not like, I know this woman is the one for me. It was more like, that, I want that, and I'm gonna make it happen, and I'm gonna just marry her, we're gonna have a family because I want it now, rather than, oh, she's the one for me and this feels so right. You know what I mean? So it's really about like going with the flow, and the flow is very simple. You just have to let it happen, and something about curbing your impatience, and things will happen how they're meant to in the right time. That's the thing. That's the beauty of it, is that everything happens at the right time. So if it's not happening, it's not the right time. If it's happening, it's the right time. It's really that simple, but we complicate it. So just keep it simple, all right? So there's your past life. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were able to make connections, and thanks for letting me read you.